Dude, I can't believe this. First shots in 70 something years. It was in foil packaging for just as long, and now we're about to bring this thing to life, boys. Well, you will never see another gun review like this on the entire internet. Today, I'm going to share an experience with y'all that I think is just incredible. And I've had an amazing opportunity to unbox this with y'all and now to shoot it for the first time. This gun has not seen the light of day, by the way, in over 70 years. Oh my gosh. And so both experiences I wanted to share with you. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the M1D and how America kind of missed the mark. We missed the mark on this gun. We saw its full potential, or realized its full potential, just a little bit too late. So if you're interested in the M1D, if you want to see a gun that has not been shot in over 70 years, and you want to get my opinion on how we really missed the mark on this gun, I'm going to share it all with you today. And of course, share my opinion on the first shots of the sniper variant specifically, because it is wildly different than even the regular Grand you see behind me. And if you'd like to hear about the failure that I had, not the gun, but that I had with this particular gun, stick around for that as well. Now, if you want to know about the lore behind this particular gun and the process it went through, unopening it for the first time in 70 years, make sure you check out the video that I will link at the end of this one and in the description down below. Let's go and get into it. So, what do we have here? Well, this is an M1D, but really we got to start with the M1C. These were developed during World War II, and there was 8,000 roughly made, and pretty much none of them really saw combat. There's some pictures, some photo ops and stuff that some of the GIs did with some of these, one in Italy I can think of, one in the Philippines. I read a fantastic article by the Armory Life, plus some other sources too, by the way, but these were good sources to kind of learn about the M1C and then the M1D. Now, the M1C, if you ever find one of these guns and you see like a cone-shaped flash hider, it basically looks like one of those cones that they put around dogs' necks, you know, after surgery so they don't mess with their ears. That's originally what it had. I think it was the M82. The other difference is, one of the big differences, is in the scope. So the M1Cs had an M81 and an M82, both of which actually were mounted to the receiver. So they drilled 3 holes and the receiver had them there. Well, in the 50s, when the M1D came around, basically they took World War II guns, which is what this is. This is a 1943. They would replace the wood and they would replace the barrel. The barrel now has an attachment point for the scope, and they upgraded the scope to an M84. And that's kind of a part of where America dropped the ball, because they didn't really see the full benefits of having a sniper, right? We're getting away from conflict like in World War I, where it's several hundred yards, even more, or a mile. Now combat is getting closer. So even though the M1, the regular M1 Garand, can reach out, 500 yards probably effectively with really good eyesight, the United States didn't realize that, oh, well, yeah, we need volume of fire, of course, but we also probably need somebody that's really good behind a scope as well. So when they repurposed some of the M1s, by the way, they repurposed 21,000 M1 Garands into the M1D during Korea. None of the M1Ds saw any kind of combat, by the way. They were not ready in time before that war actually ended. But what they did is they made a variety of different changes besides the barrel too, one of which, of course, was the M84 scope. And now we actually have caps that are protected. One of the things I found out when I took my first shots, which I'm about to share with you here very quickly, I promise you, but these are actually locked into place essentially. So, there's probably set somewhere 75, 100 yards, and then when you need to go out a distance, that's when you're going to adjust your elevation. But essentially it's hard locked into place at that 75, I think it's actually 100 yards, and then it's only going to go up from there. Now, you would think taking a scope like this, by the way, the date on this scope, when I unpackaged it, August 1st, 1952. Incredible. I've never seen one of these with a clear piece of glass. I've never seen any of the sniper variants, whether that's the PU Mosins or the K98Ks, any of them with clear optics, yet this one has it. So they added those right there. They added a little bit of a shade on the objective side of the lens, so you can move that up and down as needed. You have an eyepiece back here. I know it's not in the exact correct position, but something I found out with this scope, which I will share with you here in just a minute, is the reason I have this on here like this. It's actually designed to kind of shield your face or your eye on the side, right? So that's how it's supposed to be worked. You have the cheek rest, which is again dated 52. The barrel is dated 52. Something they did interesting with the M1Ds in 1952 is they actually put the SA marks, the Springfield Armory, and the inspector's initials on the left side of the stock. So no longer do you have the like the eagle with the 3 stars. We also have a proof mark under the hand grip here. And I was always curious why on my reproduction cheek rest that I put on my original M1, why that cheek rest is so far over to the left. Well, you're about to see why, and I think actually you could probably tell why from even just right here, because that scope is off to the left, and that's really the only way that you can get a scope to work on this gun. Let me take you to the range. Let me share at least 2 M-block clips with you so you can see the magic behind this gun. Let's give this thing a shot, dude. You got your ears on? You might want them for this one. I ain't got a suppressor for this one.
Don't ruin it. Don't ruin it.
Dude, I can't believe this. First shots in 70-something years. It was in foil packaging for just as long, and now we're about to bring this thing to life, boys. I said I wasn't going to shoot this, but then I asked Tom at Legacy Collectibles. I was like, "Hey, what do you think about me shooting this thing?" He's like, "Most of my clients want to see the gun shot. They actually want us to run a few rounds through them." So that makes sense because you know it works.
No one ever opened it or was interested in opening it. No one would care.
It would have still been sitting there all this time. So, but not anymore. All right, let's try it. I have no idea where the scope's going to be, by the way. And she's not bad.
I heard it ding.
It's right above. You see it, like right there in the middle, right above the on the far right.
Yeah, the big one. She groups.
Yeah, she needs to come down just a little, and she's good. I think I'm missing it now.
You're off to the left a little.
Is it? Okay. So we actually need to come to the right and down just a little.
Go down 5, go to the right 2.
So very first shot, this thing is on. I tried to adjust it. That's when we realized, oh, it's hard locked in. Okay, so no need for adjustment. I took it off, I put it back on, it retained its 0. This is an incredibly easy system. I mean, you would think for something that screws on, and when I say it just screws on, it really locks down on there. But you would think, man, that's gonna be wildly inaccurate. And even though I didn't do it a lot of justice, we only had 75 yards, this is amazing that it held 0 at all. I mean, come to think of it, more companies should be doing something like this because it's so freaking easy to just put on and off, no level needed, right? It is perfect the way it is. Pretty amazing technology for the day.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take 3 shots. We should be pretty well set then. Small target. Woo! She's on, baby. God. You gotta get on this thing, dude.
Gotta love that clip.
We did have some issues. So the biggest thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to crush this optic. It's very special to this gun. So I loosely tightened the clamps here. So eventually it moved in the bracket just a little bit, just enough actually, where I could not get the M blocks to get in there to get into the internal magazine. And so unfortunately, I had a couple issues there. So I just had to reline the scope, and I brought it back as far as it would come to this rear sight base without actually making contact. So that was one of the issues. But again, I didn't want to crank down on this thing because, you know, it's just special. So you can see the serial number. It was perfectly preserved, by the way. Just incredible when I first opened this thing. I had no idea what to expect. Man, I got some surprises with this one for sure. One of which is how good it actually shoots. Just like the regular Garand, it is just a tank. And, you know, I know there are some people that think, man, that there's no way it was packaged up since 1952. And something I'll share with you that we kind of learned when we did the unboxing, or when I did the unboxing, is, you know, the cheek rest is 52. The barrel was done in 52. This was packaged in 52. So if it's seen the light of day during Vietnam, which is where a lot of the M1D saw their action, at least early on, then it wouldn't have been dated 52. It would have been out of the foil packaging. If it was repackaged in the 70s, this specifically would have had a date of 1970 or 1980. So I believe that the CMP got this thing as a complete kit, and it's been passed down ever since. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I know that some of the foil and stuff actually has marks from the 80s. So it could have very well been that this scope was packaged in the 1952 along with some of the other stuff, and maybe the rifle was used with a different scope. There's no way of really knowing that, but I tend to believe that this thing was either stored away or packaged up since 1952. But either way, sharing an experience like this and kind of bringing this rifle to life is one of the proudest moments that I've ever had doing this channel, because it really is an incredible opportunity. I've never seen a video like this. As a matter of fact, Legacy Collectibles, when they got this, they even listed it. They were like, we've never seen anything like this. You know, so I could have got a bag of logs, you know what I mean? Like, I knew that the CMP had looked at it, obviously. And so there was a paperwork trail, but you know, you never know what you're going to get in something like this. And I think I got an absolutely beautiful Springfield Armory that shoots incredibly well. By the way, the barrel is basically brand new, which again leads me to believe this thing was never shot. No frosting, no pitting, cloudiness, nice, bright, shiny bore, strong rifling, and almost perfectly well preserved. The M1D is such an incredible gun, and this one here is so special. And so even though during World War II, we started to realize what the Garand could be, it wasn't until the 50s where we kind of perfected the M1D, but only 21,000 of them were made, and the M14 was adopted, even though it wasn't fully integrated until 1965. The Garand almost kind of just fell by the wayside, even though it has served us so well in World War II and Korea. Of course, we were looking to improve our technology, but this version right here, I think if there was people that fully realize what this thing actually can do and how amazing it is, you would have seen way more of these things actually produced. But I don't think America or people making those decisions thought it was just time for this thing to go away, you know, not realizing just how special this rifle really is. So there you go, man. The M1D, shooting it for the first time in 70 something years is just incredible. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be replacing my original M1 on the wall now. And something interesting is that. So I told you I was going to show you what I screwed up on. The spring for the guide rod broke on me. And so I put it in a bag in the safe along with some of the other stuff I did not open. And it's just unfortunate that it broke. I'm not even really sure how it broke. Maybe just working the action a couple times. I don't know. I honest to God don't know. But the spring was old. I mean, it was the original, right? Or at least it was changed in 52. So I took the spring out of this M1, which is exactly why there is no tension on this op rod. So anyways, I got to get a reproduction spring for this one, but I'm gonna do this with y'all right now. I love this M1. That was my very first one. Got some stories to tell with that thing too, to be quite honest with you. But I'm thinking the new centerpiece of the wall that I can finally share with you. I didn't want to ruin anything, but there you go. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.